Governor, you made the call recently that Pennsylvania will not be setting up its own health insurance exchange, meaning under the Affordable Care Act. The federal government will manage PA's exchange. Looks like the popular decision and the popular choice among other states as well. So what was the deciding factor for you in all this?
The deciding factor is the federal government didn't give us enough information. They're asking us to build an exchange. Think about this. They're asking, somebody comes along to you and says, I want you to build a house. And here's a set of draft plans, but they're not the final plans. But you got to tell me how much it's going to cost. And you got to build it. You may make the decision to build it by tomorrow. What are you going to do? You're going to say, I need more information. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they've had almost 2 years to come up with the draft regulations. They gave them to us the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. 800 pages of draft regulations. 800 pages is about so high. I know you can't see it on radio,
it's okay.
But it's about a foot and a half high.
PAMatters.com.
Okay?
Look for the video.
And if you've ever read regulations, you know how long it takes to get through something like that. It's almost like when they passed the health care bill and they said, well, we have to pass it so we can find out what's in it. Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure out what's in it. We had many questions before. We have many questions following. Republican Governors Association, we as a group sent 2 different letters to HHS. My offices sent 2 different letters to HHS over the course of the last 6 months. We received no responses until the day before, the 13th, before the 14th date of December, in which we had to make our decision, and still no adequate answers from the Secretary, and many referrals to the draft regulations. Well, draft regulations are a waste of time. What are your regulations? What are they going to be? Because the federal government's going to determine that. There's no negotiating the regulations. And the cost was anywhere from $30 to $100 million estimate. That's a pretty broad estimate.
It is.
You know, and where do we get?
Especially now.
And we had 3 options. 1, we could either build the exchange ourselves. 2, we could do a joint exchange with the federal government. Or 3, we could let the federal government do it. And on an annual basis, we can decide whether we want to take it back from them or not once they do it. Well, if you don't have the information, federal government, you do it. And that was my decision. If we decide to take it back, we can take it back.